As a pitcher, what should you be looking for when you're watching a hitter swing or when you're watching them warm up in the on-deck circle that you could perhaps exploit through your pitch calling? In today's video, we'll talk about hitter tendencies and stuff that you can think about when calling pitches. All right, first thing to look for in hitters is, do they have a fast, medium, or slow bat? When you challenge hitters early, especially over the middle of the plate, a couple good things happen. Number one, you're gonna get ahead of the count a lot. Number two, they're gonna put the ball in play and you'll get one pitch outs, which is great for your pitch count. You can go deeper into games. And number three, if I pipe a fastball first pitch or I just really challenge the hitter, now if they spray it off foul, that's told me that this hitter can't catch up to a middle fastball very well. So guess what? If they have medium or slow bat speed, because that's what that foul ball meant, I can probably beat them in and up on fastballs really easily. And I might want to stay away from throwing this person something in the middle of the plate that's a changeup or a slider, because if they're here on the fastball and I throw them a slider over the middle of the plate, that might give them just enough time to smack that slider into left center. So when you challenge hitters early, it can give you a lot of good intel about the speed of their bat. Number two, do hitters have short, compact swings or long, loopy swings? Every hitter wants to have a short, compact swing where when they land, the knob goes inside the ball and the barrel's delivered afterward. That helps them just be short to stuff so they can hit that inside pitch. But if you have a long, loopy swing, you take this long, circuitous route to the ball, and it's going to be really hard to hit that inside pitch with a long, loopy swing. That's one of the first things to look at. Where does the hitter's knob go, right? I've got my wood bat here, and if my knob is going out and I'm casting my hands as my swing starts, or my hands are going down, I'm going to have a really tough time getting all the way back through the zone to catch up to something on the inner half, right? So watch hitter swings. If they're nice and short and compact, then yeah, they could probably hit anything all over the plate. You know, they're still hitters. It's still round ball, round bat. But if you say, okay, this hitter has a loopy swing, there's some drop to their hands, they cast their hands, now they're gonna have a pretty tough time catching up to hard stuff in and hard stuff up. Next, it's really important to notice where the hitter's standing in the box. If they're crowding the plate, if they're in a pretty typical spot in the batter's box, or if they are way far away from the plate. And so what basically happens is the effective middle of the plate changes. The actual plate does not move. So when I'm standing in a pretty typical spot, the middle of the plate is effectively the middle of the plate to me, right? My barrel, my bat, when I swing, is gonna be able to cover the middle pretty easily. If I'm crowding the plate, now the middle essentially shifts to the outer half or outer third. I'm so far in that I can hit pitches away as if they're right down the middle. And the same is true if I'm very far from the plate. If I'm way back here and I still stride straight ahead, we're not talking yet about diving in, but if I still stride straight ahead, my barrel is gonna be here, and that's about inner third or inner half of the plate. I'm gonna have to really dive in, and if I don't, I cannot cover the outside half of the plate. If I'm crowding the plate like this pitch, I can only hook it foul if I get barrel to it. So for me as a pitcher, I loved when hitters crowd the plate because I would just pitch them inside with a lot of ferocity, and they're just not going to be able to get the bat head out. And if they do, they're going to have to start so early that they're going to hook that thing foul. So basically I'm safe as long as I can locate it pretty far inside. What hitters want to do when they crowd the plate is they're typically doing that because they want to say, I want to pull this outside third pitch, and I want to basically intimidate the pitcher to not come inside to me. And then there's also like little slap hitters who do this as well, and they try to walk, and then they try to bait pitchers into throwing them away, and then they just go smack, and they smack it between the 3-4 hole. And so the way to combat both of those hitters is to pound them inside, right? You go inside, and now I can't possibly hit it out that way. If they're using wood, they're probably gonna break their bat. And if it's really far in, if you get it in there, they're gonna hook it foul if they get barrel. So really read into where do they stand on the plate. And for really young levels of baseball, a lot of kids who stand really far out here, they're a little bit afraid of the ball, right? And the kids who stand really close, they got some tenacity. So that's something to think about as well. What's the demeanor of this hitter as it pertains to where they stand in the box, and how would I think about that as a pitcher? Next thing to look for when you're analyzing a hitter's stance is how tall do they stand. So a lot of with like the pesky little like contact hitters, they'll really hunch down. Now you have to figure out like what happens next. Do they stand back up as they swing, or do they kind of stay down here? And if they stay down there, they're gonna have a tough time getting to anything up, and they're gonna have a tough time getting to anything in, right? I know Jeff Bagwell was a famous exception to that. He would hit mash home runs all over the ballpark, even though he was down here. And if you're young and you don't know who Jeff Bagwell is, please Google him immediately. He's amazing. In general, these hitters are pretty easy to exploit inside and up, right? You get ahead of them and just pound them in, pound them up. When you have hitters who stand really, really tall, they're gonna have an easier time maybe getting to that eye level pitch and driving into the gap. But at the same time, there's no free lunch. So when you have a hitter who stays pretty tall, they might be a little more susceptible to waving it off-speed stuff in the dirt, or maybe they don't get to pitches, you know, fastballs, changeups down in the zone in general. Always think about, what does their stance look like to me, right? If they're pretty tall or pretty typical, a little bit of bend in their knees and look athletic, then you probably don't, it's probably kind of neutral and you're not gonna have any like real good read on them. But if they have a lot of squat in their stance, then they're gonna have a real tough time getting to stuff here and inside. Another important thing to think about in your pitch calling as a pitcher is, how does the ballpark play? Is it a short right field? Is it a short power alley on both sides? Is it short in general? If I was a gigantic 16-year-old playing on a field that's like 280 to left, 330 to left center, 360 to center, you might be pretty afraid to throw anything on the inner half to me, because I probably have the juice to just accidentally hit one out if I pull it, right? So in lots of situations like that, where there's a really short outfield fence, you might just be better off staying away from those hitters and saying, all right, I'm gonna make you have to hit an Oppo Taco home run, which is very hard to do no matter how much power you have. So even though you see them in the major leagues all the time, those are world-class hitters. I'll tell you, from all my time pitching professionally at lower levels, it is hard to hit opposite field home runs. Even guys that are amazing hitters, it is hard to hit opposite field home runs. So if you play on a short field, consider just being like, hey, I'm gonna go in occasionally and show you it, but if you're gonna beat me over the fence, I'm gonna make you beat me oppo. And I don't think you can do it, right? So be cognizant of the field and the strength of the hitter and think, how do I want them to beat me? And then challenge them in that scenario. Next thing when you're watching a hitter swing is, what does their stride do? So even if you had a hitter who was, you know, very kind of neutral in the batter's box, it's like a pretty typical stance, do they step in the bucket? If so, they're not going to get to anything away very well at all. They're especially not going to hit stuff down, and they're not going to hit stuff that breaks, right? The opposite could be true. Sometimes hitters like to stand farther away from the plate, and they like to dive in. So then you have to treat that hitter as if they're standing closer to the plate, because really what matters is where their front foot hits. If they start out here, it's not really right to say like, okay, I'm just going to tack them away, because now they're here and they're effectively just starting closer to the plate. It's no different, really. So really think about their stride and what that stride tells you, if they step in the bucket or if they step a little open or whatever it is. And then also think, okay, how much does this hitter change from their stance to their actual like power ready position, right? Because they could be doing some weird stuff up here, like you've seen the major leagues in the past, like this was Tony Batista, but they all get here just the same. So you can't read in too much to this initial stance. You've got to say, okay, where do they get when they actually stride? So consider what they do when they stride, but also make sure you're folding it in with everything else that you've learned about that hitter. Next, watch how hitters swing on every single pitch. And this seems obvious, but a lot of times pitchers aren't paying really close attention. You know, you throw them a changeup. Did they take this swing and miss at it? Or did they take this swing and miss at it? Because that's a very different type of swing and miss. When a hitter takes a pitch, did they take it like this? Or did they take it like this? Those are very different types of takes that tell you different things about the pitch you just threw. So if you threw a changeup that bounces right here and the hitter takes it like this, that means they barely held up, but the pitch location was so poor that they were able to figure it out soon enough to hold up. So if I threw a changeup that bounced there and the hitter took it like this, I'm probably throwing that changeup again, knowing that they're not seeing it well out of my hands. And if I throw it anywhere better than that, I'm almost certainly going to get them to commit, because they almost committed on this really bad one, right? So focus a lot on the takes that they take. So focus a lot on how they take pitches and how they swing at pitches. When they take that ugly swing or a pretty firm, controlled swing, even if they're both the same foul ball, those are very different swings. Next, never speed a hitter's bat up. And here's what I mean by that. And this is an incredibly important principle for young pitchers to learn. If I get a fastball and I foul it off that way, telling you that I'm late, do not throw me a slider in the middle of the plate. Do not throw me a changeup on the next pitch. Because if I'm here on the fastball On the next pitch, if you throw me a changeup that's 7 miles per hour slower, 8 miles per hour slower, if I'm here on the fastball, you've given me just enough time to be here on that changeup, and now that's a line drive into the gap. That's what we call by speeding the hitter's bat up. So if a hitter's telling you, I can't catch up to this pitch or this pitch, listen to them. And now you're gonna go fastballs farther in or fastballs up, because if they can't hit the middle pitch or an outside half pitch into fair territory, they don't have the bat speed, they're definitely not gonna have the bat speed to hit this one or this one. So that's where it becomes very easy to exploit the obvious thing that hitters are showing you. And it's a common mistake that pitchers go, oh, well, I threw him 2 fastballs, and even though he fouled them both away late, I'm worried about them catching up and like figuring it out. So now I'm gonna switch pitches before they do. That's the wrong attitude. Make the hitter show you that they have adjusted. So if it's foul ball and then it's foul ball, they have not made an adjustment yet. So now just keep bringing it in, bring it up, rather than saying, oh, I'm afraid they're gonna magically make an adjustment, so I'll throw them that curveball. Well, that curveball just helped me because I didn't have the bat speed to catch up to your fastball. So don't assume that hitters are gonna adjust. Take what they're showing you, take what they're giving you, and never speed a hitter's bat up. All right, so those are my pitch calling tips for today. I've got a lot more on reading hitters. Check them out in my online courses and my pitching books below. There's a lot of stuff that you'll learn over the years as they go by if you're paying attention. And as coaches, try to point this stuff out whenever you can. Be in the dugout with your guys and gals and be like, hey, see that hitter? See how their hands go out when they swing? See how their swing's kind of loopy? What does that mean? Yeah, we can bust them inside and they're gonna struggle, right? So point these things out, continue to learn and grow as a pitcher, and you'll always get better every single year with your baseball IQ, your pitch calling, and that's how you optimize your ability. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave in the description below. You'll also find my pitching books, including The Art of the Mound Visit, which is an amazing resource for pitching coaches of all ages, and you'll find the gear you saw in this video, including this Marucci bat, in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you here in the next video.